Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you are enjoying the content, please don't forget to like or subscribe. It really does help out a lot. I do appreciate it. I know I say it every time, and that's because it's true. Thank you to all who have subscribed to the channel, who hit the like button, those that comment below. I know some of you do it even just to help out. You don't even really have anything to say. You'll even just put comment to help out. And I see it. I appreciate it. So thank you. We're gonna dig in a little bit to follow up on the Hamby lawsuit against the WNBA and the Las Vegas Aces, which could get really nasty and be a really, really bad thing for the WNBA at a time when they absolutely don't need it. So we've got a little bit here from the WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, who went on Good Morning America, and she talks briefly about that. But before I dig into that, just sort of like an overview reminder and a clarification, because this is something some people have been asking about, or a couple of things people have been asking about. Now, the WNBA, as we talked in previous video, conducted its own investigation. They suspended Aces coach Becky Hammon, little tiny, tiny slap on the wrist for the first two games of 2023. And that was for violating the league's respect in the workplace policies, which I think is really interesting because that goes into the whole idea of intimidation. And what I would also like to know is the players. That's a big thing for me that a lot of people aren't talking about. I don't know if there was anything that went on with the players. Hamby hasn't said anything, but maybe that's being, they're waiting for that for the actual lawsuit and everything that they have to go through. Because based on a brief clip I shared with you the other day from back when this happened, so back in the 2023 season, the players were basically throwing Hamby under the bus. They were supporting Becky Hammon very clearly, especially Asia Wilson and Candace Parker at the time. So that leads me to believe what went on with the rest of the players and Hamby, and how was she treated by the players? Because again, pattern of behavior. We go back to Candace Wiggins and how badly she said she was treated and bullied for not being part of the club when she was in the WNBA, and how eventually forced her to retire because she was just mentally, she was done with that. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, because I brought this up, I brought it up as a question because I hadn't been able to find anything in terms of why the Aces had their first round pick taken away and the way it was worded. And I wondered if that had to do with the contract and everything, because I didn't think, like, I felt that how they were handling the money for her daughter's school tuition seemed a little sketchy, kind of a workaround with the contracts and compensation, because of salary cap and limits and all that. And that sounds like what happened. It says their first round pick was stripped for breaking rules on impermissible benefits in connection with Hamby's contract. Now, it doesn't say detail here, but I'm going to guess that that was the reimbursement money for the tuition, because I think I saw somewhere where they said like they were making it a donation to the school and it would cover the tuition for Hamby's daughter, sort of, very sort of, right? I'm not going to go into detail. That's a completely different thing. But on the surface, it sounds a lot like what the Aces are kind of in trouble for right now, with that whole idea of the Chamber of Commerce giving each player $100,000 to represent the city of Las Vegas, right? Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, and we'll get to the video and talk about that just real quick, because this was a question as well. There were a number of people in my comments and that I also saw on Twitter that were asking, why did she take so long to file the lawsuit? Well, it was a multi-step process. She had to file with the EEOC, and that was done after the WNBA investigation, because part of her complaint had to do with how poorly the investigation went. And in fact, I don't have the quote here, but I saw in another thing where the players for the Aces were not even interviewed by the WNBA. Think about that with this situation, what we have with the bullying and the intimidation and being locked out of team facilities and so on and so forth. The WNBA never interviewed a single teammate of Hamby's. That's crazy. So I believe it was September of 23 filed the complaint with the EEOC, and then on May 23rd of 2024 received a notice of right to sue, and then now has filed the lawsuit. And I'm guessing that little delay of, 3 months there was probably Hamby and her legal team getting everything together that they needed to get together in order to file this lawsuit, in which the Aces and the WNBA named as defendants. So now we're going to go back to this. Cathy Engelbert, WNBA Commissioner. This is a little over a minute long, being asked about this situation. So let's see what she has to say.
I can't let you go without talking about Dearica Hamby. Of course, she, formerly of the Las Vegas Aces, she has filed a lawsuit against the Aces and the league, claiming that she was discriminated against after she became pregnant. How do you respond to her?
Yeah, just
suit?
landing from Paris, just saw that the complaint was filed. We're reviewing it. Obviously, we'll have our lawyers take a look at it. But Dearica is such a great player in this league. She just represented our country in 3x3.
Won the bronze medal.
Yes, and won the bronze. So Dearica's...
Okay, first of all, before I got to dig into that opening, you start out with like you can't even talk about it because you just found out. I mean, my goodness, you just landed from Paris, you poor child. You didn't know this was coming. You knew this was coming. You had to know this was coming. So don't act like you aren't prepared to talk about it because you just found out and you don't even know what's going on yet, right?
She has 2 children, a great mom, spent a lot of time with her over the last couple of years. So we'll obviously review this.
And what is the
Why have you spent a lot of time with this one particular player over the last couple of years and you know that she's a great mom? I don't know. That just sounds like deflective gibberish to me, but we'll keep going.
doing to ensure that these women and these families have all that they need?
Yeah, I think in the last collective bargaining agreement, we opened up a lot of progressive benefits for moms, full maternity leave, rooms for children on the road and in market. So there are a lot of things because a lot of our players don't necessarily live in the market in which they play.
True.
So there's a lot of additional benefits. Also, just across the board benefits for women athletes for the first time, whether it's fertility benefits and other things that we know our players want. But we'll know they'll want more in the next round of negotiating. So we're actually looking forward to getting to the table with them.
I appreciate you discussing that. Appreciate that.
What? Look, I think Cathy Engelbert would have come off a lot better here if she had just said, now that the suit has been filed, I can't and won't talk about it. Because all she did here was throw out nonsense. There is no answer at all in anything she said. She used it as an opportunity, almost as a stump speech for the WNBA being so pro-women, although, thanks to more and more eyes on the WNBA, we're learning that's not really the case. They may be pro the club, they may be pro the inner circle. I don't know that I would say that they are pro women when you look at everything that's going on and the things that they've allowed to happen. Don't forget, this isn't the only thing out there. We've seen what's happened with Caitlin Clark. We heard about Candace Wiggins. We've talked about Skylar Diggins-Smith, which may be another lawsuit that gets filed. She may be pulled into this one because I'm sure lawyers for Hamby may very much want to talk to Diggins-Smith about her situation because it sounds very, very similar in terms of being locked out of team facilities and so forth. And by the way, let's go back to the very beginning to wrap this up. The WNBA investigated this. They already investigated this. They suspect. Now, look, it wasn't much of a penalty. It doesn't seem like it was much of an investigation. I don't know how you investigate accusations like that and you don't talk to Hamby's teammates on the Las Vegas Aces. I don't understand how that works. But the WNBA did do an investigation. So how Cathy Engelbert cannot speak on this because she just found out after landing from Paris seems a little ridiculous, because she should be very, very familiar with it already. Why is she not familiar with it already? What is happening with the WNBA? Now, again, and I will say this repeatedly, like I said before when this came out, the WNBA has a lot of reasons for not wanting the new fans. It's not just, turns out it's not just petty jealousy of Caitlin Clark. It's not, Caitlin Clark's inability to tan or her choices, or, I mean, it's all that, sure. I think it's mostly petty jealousy, but it's clearly also not wanting eyes on a league, because when you get more and more eyes on it, people notice things that weren't noticed in the past. And I guarantee you, if this lawsuit had been filed even a year ago, if this had happened a year prior and everything was a year behind, if this lawsuit had been filed a year ago, none of us would be talking about it. Cathy Engelbert would not be on Good Morning America. We wouldn't, and see, this is passing into the mainstream, right? This isn't Sports Center. This isn't an ESPN show that's WNBA specific or women's sports specific. This is Good Morning America on ABC. This would not be happening if this was a year ago. So the WNBA is going to have to deal with a lot of other stuff. They are going to have to clean the skeletons out of the closet and have a major reset in order to move forward successfully and hold on to that media rights money. But and fire Cathy Engelbert, by the way. Cathy Engelbert needs to go. She needs to be replaced by someone with experience, who knows what they're doing, who can navigate the waters of what the WNBA is currently going through and come out the other side a stronger and a profitable league with a bright future. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I really, really do appreciate it. And I will talk to you later.